That's a lot to think about. We were talking earlier about Hitler, Stalin, Mao, and how people just follow right along, didn't question it. I mean, some did, they end up dying, but of course they were the examples, right? But now we have the pop culture that seems to be bringing forward the idea of an Illuminati, a very real Illuminati, that has put all doubt aside about how this all happens. Because now the psychology of the general public is, well, we're okay with it. We cheer it on. We parrot all the propaganda that we're being fed from the approved authoritative sources, the talking heads, the mouthpieces, all these. Fascism and communism are no longer far-off ideologies being implemented by adversarial forces. We're now seeing a darker form of an Illuminati pushing these narratives at home. They're now staring us straight in the face on a regular basis in the newfound form of technocracy, transhumanism, and globalism. It's called the New World Order. It's called the Fourth Reich. It's called the Great Reset, the Fourth Industrial Revolution, and its tentacles are sinking deeper by the day everywhere, which includes religion as well. See, the part about this whole ordeal that shocks me the most is just how well coordinated and effective the suppression of free-flowing information has been in the digital public square, despite the fact that everyone connected to the internet has access to and the ability to find the truth if they only put in the effort to seek it out. But the problem also lies in the fact that you've got people like Jankowicz, you've got Google searches. They weed out any dissenting points of view, and so it becomes harder to gather information. And so most people give up because they don't have the time nor the energy to actually sit down and study current events. This is why most people drink from the poison well of biased media. Partly the problem arises from the fact that a certain percentage of people don't actually want to hear the truth, because once knowing it, they are then presented with having a larger responsibility to actually do something about it. So it's easier just to keep a low profile, flow with whatever the consensus bias happens to be at any given moment, and simply go along just to get along without causing any disturbance or drawing any unwanted attention to themselves. Thomas Jefferson said this, and this is a great quote. He said, "The amount of tyranny you get is the exact amount you put up with." So in that vein, the more insidious, draconian aspect of this corrupt situation doesn't involve people's willingness to set aside their critical thinking, but rather is a direct product of the censorship being enforced by the corporate media, social media, and these government institutions. Basically, anyone who tries to speak out and raise truth up to the surface level gets their voice silenced and their online presence axed out of existence. As globalization and homogenization increases, the countercultural and transgressive elements of humanity will increase in direct proportion. And judging from historical social paradigms, this seems a foregone conclusion, but in the age of political puppetry, in the age of consumerist plasticity and televised humiliation, the situation can at times seem almost hopeless. That's why it's important to understand that in times like these, secret societies and cults spring up everywhere, promising enlightenment at a high price. And that's why there needs to be an awakening, more so than ever before, an awakening. Someone who's been part of this awakening is Leo Zagami, who on the program tonight, we've invited him to come on. He's a writer and researcher who's known for a brilliant career as Leo Young in the media and music industry as a record producer. He became quickly popular on the web in 2006 because of his direct involvement in the New World Order and secret societies known to the majority as the Illuminati. Please welcome Leo Zagami to the show. Hey, Leo. It's good to have you on.
It's good to be back on with you as usual, and it's a pleasure also to be discussing some very interesting topics tonight.
So the Illuminati, it seems, even though we've known about it for a long time, now they're creating this cartoonish, in-your-face, we're here with TV shows and movies, and of course they are all at the forefront now of killing dissenting viewpoints. What is the future here? I mean, is this a way for us to just throw caution to the wind and say, okay, we're going to take on this whole new world order, or is there something else afoot?
Well, first of all, there is the normalization of the Illuminati in the eyes of the pop culture, and of course, this Doctor Strange movie about the multiverse also as a subject, which is indeed an interesting subject if you think about, of course, the possibility of evoking entities from other dimensions and the constant discussion of extra dimensionality amongst also the occultists, especially since Aleister Crowley in an increasing way associated also with ufology. But in regards to then the Mike Myers, the whatever on Netflix, which I just saw, and it's totally hilarious, of course, but it is another attempt in normalizing the pentavit, how they call the
Pentavariate, yeah.
Yes, well, it's definitely, like I say, an attempt of normalizing a very serious topic in the eyes of the masses. And this is, of course, very interesting as we have already assisted in the last few decades in the normalization of the occult side, with Hollywood bringing out increasingly their occult side quite out in the open, blatantly. You know, before they used to be, of course, a little bit more careful in disguising themselves. No, instead now they are literally coming out with thousands and thousands of films, TV series, and so on. So you can't really even keep a track with all of them.
I agree. I mean, you could also talk about Moon Knight, which is another Marvel type of show where they talk about the Ennead or the Nine. They talk about the Council of Nine. They talk about these Egyptian gods that they pay homage to, much like they would pay homage to Baal or some other Canaanite type of god, Moloch or whatever. All of this seems to be coming out in the open right now. It's good to have with us tonight Leo Zagami to give us the grand tour of what the Illuminati is doing right now, coming and basically putting it all in your face.